Hello, how are you guys? Good night. Thank you for joining me. Um, I don't usually stream, so I'm a little nervous, even though I'm talking to three people. But I thought this would be fun because I have had a lot of people ask me how I do certain things on Roll20, or not how I do it, but how certain things are done in general. So since I've been basically playing on Roll20 for a year now, nonstop, weekly, I've picked up a lot of good insights and habits and stuff I do in my games. So I thought I'd share them with people. So one of the questions I get a lot is how do you work with maps and how do you make the maps line up and the grid and that sort of thing. So I'm going to show you that first, and then I'm going to show you how to tweak monsters really quickly on Roll20, which is it's a very easy thing to do. So let me get on Roll20, and I'm going to open this game here. Is my audio in sync or is it out of sync? Can someone in the chat give me a heads up? Should be in sync. All right, so here we have the main Roll20 screen here. Let me minimize it a little bit. And the Roll20 default for the grid, each square is 70 pixels wide. So what does that mean? It means that 1 inch is 70 pixels wide, and you could see the setup for the pages here. All right, so you go here, and cell width, one cell is 70 pixels, right? So what does that mean for you and your maps? Well, it means that you have to use those 70 pixels come into play with a map. So I have a map here already selected. Right? I'm going to drop it on the grid. This battle map here. I'm going to go to the map layer here, up here, map and background. And I'm going to drop this map right here, right? Now you see how it came out. It drops it on there a little smaller than it should be, right? This particular map, and let me zoom in a little bit here. Where to go? There it is. So I know that this map is 40 squares wide and 30 squares 40 wide and 30 wide and 40 long, right? So it's a 40 by 30 map. When you talk about the 70 pixels, that's where the 70 pixels come in. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to set the page on Roll20 to match the dimensions of the map based on the pixels, right? So again, we have a 40 by 30 map. So we go to the page setup here, and we want to tell this map that we're 40 by 30. All right, it's 40 by 30. And you see how it changes. You'll see up here, it changes it automatically to 2800 by 2100. 40 by 70, 2800, 30 by 70, 2100. Save your settings, and you're going to see the map, the grid on Roll20 change to match the proportions of the map you put in there, right? So now you click on the map, you right click it, you go to advanced, set dimensions, and you tell it 2800 by 2100, and it's going to fill up the grid. You just place it in position there, and there you go. Boom. Your map is now matching the Roll20 grid. And the way you know that is by dropping a token on it and making sure that it moves with the grid. So here I have an ape. All right, you put it there. And now when I move it around the grid, you could see that it's perfectly lined up with the grid. That's an ape. Oh, he's angry. Hold on. Don't be angry, ape. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. So, again, all I did was match the size of the Roll20 grid to the dimensions of the map, and then resize the map itself to the Roll20 grid. Very simple. I'll do it again so you guys can see it. Let me remove the map again. So here we go. We have the grid. I know that I'm going to need a 40 by 30, right? Because that's the number of squares on the map. It's 40 squares by 30 at 70 pixels, 2800 by 2100. Boom. Now, the other key part of this is that I did make sure that that map was 70 pixels an inch. Or did I even have to do that? I don't even know if I had to do that. No, I didn't even do that. That didn't matter. So here we go. We have the 40 by 30 background on Roll20. Go here. Drop the battle map. You right click the battle map. It's going to go to it, ask you to set the dimensions on the map. Now what you're doing is you're setting the dimensions on the actual graphic, not on the Roll20 grid itself. This is on the actual map image. Set dimensions, 2800 by 2100. Set, boom, and then just adjust it to make sure that it's sitting where you want it to sit. And that's it. Your map is good to go. You drop a token on there to make sure that it's right. You want to make sure you drop your token in the token layer. And there you go. You're good to go. That's pretty simple. It's not too complicated. Let's try another map. Let me try with a map I didn't prep beforehand. Let's see how we can make that work. Let me see if I have a map here. These maps are different because these maps don't have grids, so you could basically put them here, and you could make them as big or small the scale as you want. So these are a little different. Where people have issues is with the maps that have grids built on top of them. Let me see. Okay, I have one here. So I have this map here. Does this have a grid on it? It might not have a grid on it. I don't know. Let me see. Oops. Come on, Roll20. Don't embarrass me. Is there a grid discovery? I'm not sure what that means. Is that like something that Foundry has? I don't know. That I don't know. Let me see this map here. Yeah, so this map has a grid built onto it. Let me count the squares on it, and see how we can adjust this. It's a little hard to see. It's a little hard to see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I think that's right, 21. Let's call it 21 by 21. All right, so now 21 by 21, we're going to do 1470 by 1470 grid on there. All right, 21 by 21, 1470 by 1470, save settings. There you go. The grid, the Roll20 page changes to this, and then here we'll advance it, set dimensions, and 1470 by 1470. You could also do it by squares. So like if you go to units, you could do 21 by 21. It's the same thing. And there you go. It fills up, and let's drop our gorilla on here on the token layer. This one is a little off. I may be off by a square. Might be off by a little bit because it's not lined up correctly. What you want to do here is what I do. Grid Finder can find grid count. Sure, you could post a link. What I like to do here is I like to set the grid's opacity high so I could compare it against my map grid. Yeah, so I think I'm off. I think I might be off. Or this map is not 70 by 70, which is a possibility. Sometimes I find maps and they're like 72 by 72 instead, which means that I go here and I adjust it to 72. Right? This particular map is so hard to see. If I had the file on my folder on the computer, I would right click and look at the dimensions, and then I could figure out whether it's 70 or 72 easily, because it would tell me the dimensions of the image, and then I would just divide it by the number of squares, and you could find it that way. Unfortunately, I can't do that because I don't have the map handy right now. I don't know what folder it's on. I'm not going to look for it. But it's the same concept. It's not too complicated. And then the other thing I wanted to show you was the monsters and how to adjust monsters. And that's so easy. So like basically Roll20 has the entire D&D basic rules built into it for free. So you can look at monsters. I happen to have a bunch of books. Let me show you. So like I have the Monster Manual. I have Creature Codex from Kobold Quarterly. I have Volo's Guide to Monsters. I have Mordekainen's Tome of Foes. So I have a bunch of monsters here. But let's say you wanted to play with the ape. Right, let's go back to our angry ape. No, ape, don't growl at me, man. Don't scare me. So the ape, we bring it out here. All right. Okay, that's enough growling. And we click on him here in our journal, right? Our journal is where we store all our characters for our game, right? So you go here, you go to your character sheet, and right in the character sheet, you could basically change your monster however you want. So let's look at an attack. Let's have the monster make an attack roll, right? You go to your monster hits, your ape hits with the fist, and you could see here my attack rolls and my damage, right? So we know that the fist attacks with a +5, and the damage is 1d6 +3, and you see that reflected here when you hover your mouse over the over the rolls, you see it 1d6 plus 3. So I rolled a 5 on the die, which is the one in parentheses there. 5 plus 3, 8 bludgeoning. And then the attack roll, I rolled a 17 plus 5 gives you that 22, right? Now, if you wanted to make your ape stronger, all you got to do is you go here to your little sprocket here, right? And you change the to hit number. Let's say you give him an 8, and your damage here, you can give him a 1d12, and suddenly you see how it changes here, and that's it. And suddenly your ape hits harder and stronger. So I rolled a 5 plus 8 gives you that 13. And the damage, I rolled an 8 plus 3 gives you a 11. I rolled a d12 for damage because I changed it. Very simple. I mean, it's so easy to adjust monsters on the fly. You could do that with the hit points too, for example. If you go up here and you want to give your monster more hit points, you could give him, if he's got 19, you want to up that to 45. Boom, now your monster has 45 hit points. You would do that on the token too. So like here, when you double click a token, you see the green bar defaults to hit points, but they don't assign it to the hit points on the character sheet. If they did, you'll see that change to 45. Watch. You see? Changes to 45. Boom. But they don't do that because you don't want that, because you want every monster to be unique. If you did that for every, if you set that on the token, your hit point there, it'll link. Watch, let me show you. You want to set the hit points on the token itself. Here where it says value, right? Then you have 45 hit points. This guy takes damage, -5. Now he's at 40, right? Bring another ape. He's got 19. This particular ape has 40. This particular ape has 19. If you wanted to give this guy more hit points, all you got to do is click on the token there, give him 100 hit points, and now you're tracking 2 different sets of hit points. I do that a lot with the monsters. If I see a fight is either going too easy for the players or too difficult, I adjust certain monsters on the fly. Another thing I do is I don't give every goblin the same amount of hit points. Some goblins, monsters, might enter the fight stronger or weaker than their buddies, because not everybody, some might be tired, some might be stronger, some might be. So I like to play with hit points a lot. That's one of the levers I use when I'm running combats. So that's how you adjust monsters on the fly. It's very simple. You could also give them different. If you wanted to give him different abilities, you could create a different attack for the monster. A spit attack, let's say. It's an attack. You go to spit to hit 5. It's a ranged attack. 10 feet, 5 feet. Target, one target, hit 1d10. The ape spits, right? So now when you click it, it just created a new attack for the ape. You see? Spit, attack 2024. You roll your damage. Damage 7. The ape spits. So it's very easy. It's very easy. There's no magic here to it. The custom monsters bit, yeah, it's the same thing. So Dar Jr. is asking if it's the same way to add custom monsters. And yes, let me show you that real quick. So you go to your journal here. You click add. You click character, right? So it creates this random character with a random name on it. You click Save Changes, right? So now you have a character here who's been added to your journal, right? But he's got no artwork, he's got no name, no nothing. So you go here, create an NPC, right? And you got a blank, basically a blank character sheet. What I like to do is I'll come into the this thing here, and I'll find a monster that I want to sort of use as a base, right? So let's say the animated armor, and I'll dump him in here, right? So now the base is the animated armor, but I can go in here and change him into whatever I want. So if I want to turn him into NewbieDM Golem, there you go. It's as simple as that. And then you just, he'll be added to your thing here. Change him, NewbieDM Golem. And then there he is. And now if I wanted to add a token to it, right? So let's drag this token here. I have a token here. I have NewbieDM Golem. He's got no artwork assigned to him. I'll take this token and double click the token, and I can assign it to a character, right? So I'll assign it to NewbieDM Golem. Save settings, right? Go to the character sheet here. Default token, use selected token. Boom, save changes. So now when I drop him on the map, NewbieDM Golem, it'll drop it with that token. That's it. And then when I click him, you could see the character sheet here with the name, and I can go in and customize everything. I can add powers. I can basically do whatever I want. So if you were to say copy and paste monster abilities from somewhere, D&D Beyond or something, you could just add them to. Like the other day, I had to create a custom monster for my campaign. I'm using the James Intercasso's My Dad's Monster Manual book. And there's a monster that I wanted to use. Obviously, I have no sources for it on Roll20, so I had to basically go in there and do it by hand and create it. It's very easy. Roll20, once you get the hang of it, a lot of people are intimidated by Roll20. One of the things I find about Roll20 that's very easy for me is if I stick to using it as a table, and I leave out the lighting, and I leave out all the gimmicks and the sounds and all that stuff, and I use it strictly as a table, or as close to a table as possible, it's very easy for me to use, and it's very easy to run games and run things with it. And over time, I've gotten really fast with it. I mean, I've been using it for a long time now, but it's not. I don't find it as difficult as people. I don't think it's as intimidating as people think it is. So I think that's it. I don't have anything else planned to show you. I don't know if you have any questions there. I see a few people on the stream, on the chat. Is there anything else you wanna see me do on Roll20 that maybe you've had questions about? I wasn't really prepared to stream tonight, but I said screw it. Let's try it out. I have a love-hate relationship with streaming. It never works right for me. I guess tonight it's working. I showed you my campaign. Let me show you my campaign real quick. Let me exit. Go into my actual team. I have a lot of stuff here. Real messy. I'm not organized at all, but I'm not. Oh look, oh no, you see, it's loading. I have a bunch of stuff. No, Roll20 it's not intimidating, man. It's really easy. I find it really. Why are all these things grayed out? Is it loading? Yeah, I guess it's loading. Here's something cool you could do with Roll20. Check this out. So let's say you have a map. I don't know. Let's go to the Yuan-Ti temple map, right? And these are maps I got from Bolus. I don't use these, but whatever, they're here. Let's say you have a map and you want to, maybe you want to create some music. Let me see if there's something about snakes. Let me see if there's like a snake, something. Tabletop audio. Let me see, temple. Let me see. Whatever. Just some ambience. All right, so here, all right, let's try this. So you could add it to your game. Boom, Temple of the Mains. And then up here in your page setting, you could assign that song to it, right? Temple of the Mains, save. So now when you load it and you place a player on it, where are my players at? This little ribbon. You should hear the music. Is it playing? I can't hear the music. I don't know if that's right or not. It's part of this audio stuff that I really can't. I hear it. There's the music. Yeah, so basically you could set your music to play when you load the page and it's sort of there and you can control the volume and stuff like that. And then I have a different thing I do for sound effects. So I have soundboards. I have a separate piece of software that I use to run sound effects on.
Blast him!
And it's pretty powerful between the music and the sound effects. Sometimes it gets a little distracting when you're trying to run a game and you're worried about whether or not you're going to have Jabba the Hutt speak.
Oh.
But you get the hang of it after a while, and it works. Those are all Star Wars sound effects, by the way. One day I'm going to get into one day I'll do a video on how I do the sound effects. It's a pretty cool piece of software. Oh, here comes a Tarrasque. So another cool thing I like to do, check this out. I create a dashboard for my game with graphics, and it's sort of like it's kind of like a splash screen for the players. It's like I recap the adventure. I have like graphics here that mean things to the characters. So like each of these things is somehow symbolic, like representative of the characters. It's kind of just like I don't know, like a little bit of flavor. I created this in Photoshop, and I just import it like if I were importing a map, and I use it. So sometimes I'll start the adventure, I'll start the session with it. I'll put the players on, and that's the first thing they see when they log on, right? And then sometimes if we're like transitioning to a different scene somewhere, I'll create a graphic for the players to have a visual representation of where we're going. It's kind of like an establishing shot in a movie, you know. and maybe I'll add a little bit of music to it or something if I feel it needs it. So I play a lot with the graphics, and I play a lot with the pages feature in Roll20, and none of this really has to do with the actual like maps and tokens and stuff like that. It's just like flavor, since we're all remote and we're not sitting together. I like to provide a little bit of you know a little bit of flair to the sessions, and I think this type of stuff does it. I built this in Photoshop. I just I get on the web and I look for pictures and stuff. And same thing with the sound effects. So with the sound effects, I download them off of YouTube mostly. I have a piece of software called I don't even remember what it's called. It's called Farrago, 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 and it's a soundboard basically, and I could trigger sounds with it with the keyboard. So if I tell the players, oh, you're walking down Skullport and there's a car headed your way, it hits the brakes. It just adds a little bit of flavor to the games. What I do, and I'll get into the software in some other video, but basically you can create playlists. So like I have a Icewind Dale playlist. I have a Caves of Hunger playlist. I have a Star Wars playlist for when we play Star Wars.
You're not authorized here.
And I stole a bunch of sound effects from video games and stuff like that. Griffin's asking me what percentage of my prep time do you use to create these mood enhancing effects. It's kind of a weird question because I've become really, really quick at Photoshop. So the time it takes me is really, I spend a lot of time looking for the images more than putting them together. Like I could put them together really quickly. The effects, you know what? I don't spend a lot of time because I could do it all fairly fast at this point. It's not, I've become proficient in Photoshop and that sort of thing. I just posted a link to the Rogue Amoeba website, which is where the software here is. The loopback is what I use to actually broadcast audio. So I'm using that right now. It's a sound mixer. It's a digital sound mixer. And Farrago is the soundboard. You can check those out. They're pretty cool. So how long does it take me to create this? It doesn't take me long, and I think I'm going to do a video on how I do it. To show you, it's very simple for me, and you could do it all with free software. By the way, like you don't need Photoshop. There's a software called GIMP. It's called GIMP, and it's basically it's a free version of Photoshop. It's like open source Photoshop. It's a little more. It's not as robust as Photoshop, and it's not as streamlined. I personally prefer to use. I bought a piece of software. I don't even use Photoshop. I bought a piece of software called Pixelmator for the Mac. It cost me $50. And for me, it does what I need really well, and just as well as Photoshop for what I would use Photoshop for. It's a $50 investment for me. I found it worth it. But GIMP is a free alternative. If you learn how to use GIMP, you could do whatever you do in Photoshop basically with GIMP. And create these. I have an iMac, a late 2012 27-inch iMac is the computer I have. Dar Jr. is asking me. Someone says that they should include these things in the hardbacks. It'd be great if it would be really, really fun if Wizards created graphics like this available for download whenever they have a release for a hardback. Because so many people are playing on streams now, and I feel like the streams are not. People aren't really being. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't think they're. I don't think games on streamed games are. What am I saying? People who play on virtual tabletops aren't being taken care of too much. That might be an unfair statement, but what I mean by that is like providing something as simple as tokens or handouts, digital art, the digital maps, stuff like that. well, I guess they do provide it, but you got to buy it on Roll20. But if you buy the book, I don't see why you shouldn't get a couple of handouts. I print them out and put them on the table. It says Dar Junior. I did that actually. I did print them out. I when I ran Tomb of Annihilation, I had a booklet, a notebook full of handouts that I printed and created these things, and I would put them on the table. The other thing I do, which works really well for me, is in my game room, and this is where I'm sitting now is my game room. I have a 55-inch monitor. It's a TV, because this is kind of like our TV room, and I put these graphics on the TV while we're playing, and it works really well too, because we play near the TV. So I just have them back there, and I basically I send it to the TV via my phone or the iPad or whatever. Like I what's it called? I Chromecast it to the TV, and so I have the maps on the TV. I have the graphics, these establishing shots, that sort of thing. So it's fun. And again, it's another way to use Roll20. Even if you were playing face to face, I would still probably use Roll20 in my session just to show these graphics, right? Because I have one of those TV tabletop things with a TV in it for digital maps. I don't use it all the time because it's a little cumbersome, it's a little heavy. But when I do use it, I do put Roll20 on there, and I even though we're playing face to face, I'm still using Roll20 for certain things. So it's a very convenient tool for me. And they're not paying me to say that. I generally like app. I use it. I've learned to appreciate it over time, and this past year, my campaign has we started playing in May of 2020. We only stopped maybe 4 weeks, 5 weeks out of an entire year. So I've had a lot of reps with Roll20 over this pandemic. So, and I think that's it. I mean, I don't know what else I can show you tonight. Here's a monster I created. Here's a monster I created. It was a custom monster. This monster came out of that James Intercasso book. The James Intercasso My Dad's Monster Manual book. And it's basically a reskinned, I forgot what those guys are called, whatever they're called, yeah, those demons, Yilok or Yeon or whatever. And I had to go in by hand and type all this up. Yes and no, right? I copied and pasted from the PDF, which you could do. You could copy and paste. It took me maybe 5 minutes. So you could create your custom monsters. Oh, there's the original, the Yoklol. Here's another cool thing you could do. And this one requires a different video. But you could take a monster. Let me find it. Hold on. Because I created one for my last session. Deep Scion. Here we go. So check this guy out. The Deep Scion is a creature from, I want to say, Volos. And the Deep Scion is a shape changer. So it can basically, it's kind of like, it's a shape changer, right? So one of the cool things you could do on Roll20 is you could take a token and give it different faces to adjust, to account for shape changers and doppelgangers. So this particular guy was shaped and changed into a dwarf, and when he revealed himself, I had him show his true face. This is good for things like bandits, where you don't want every bandit looking the same. You could, create a bandit that looks like this, while another bandit might look like this, just to give it a little bit more flavor and more variety to your game, so that not every bandit looks the same. You create this in a feature in Roll20 called Rollable Tables. It's down here. Where is it? Here, Rollable Tables. It's part of the Roll20 thing. And the way it works is you basically, here it is. You basically add, you create your guy here, Deep Scion, right? And then you add items, and every item is a new face, a new token, and you basically upload the image, right? And you save it, and then it creates a token, and you basically assign this token to the monster on the character sheet. So now whenever you pull the Deep Scion onto the table, you're pulling it with this rollable monster, rollable table with a different multi-sided token. So you could have two of these guys on the table, but they look different, right? And that's a cool little trick you could do. And I'll do that in a video. In my next video, I'll create multi-sided tokens because people seem to like that a lot, and it gives you variety. You could do so much with tokens, and if you have Pixelmator, for example, you could do a lot of stuff. So check this out. This is my spell templates. I built all of these on Pixelmator. Let's go to a blank page real quick. Check this out. All right, so here's a blank page, and I created these spell templates myself on Pixelmator. I actually sell them on DriveThru RPG. And these are basically to scale, right? A 10-foot cube. You see it covers up the 4 squares. Why? Because I made them at 70 pixels per inch. How Roll20 defaults, right? So Bigby's hand, right? Here's my players want to cast Bigby's hand. They pulled this thing onto the table, and that's Bigby's hand. Burning hands, it's a cone, right? So here you have your 15-foot cone for burning hands. Fireball, it's right here, and you can see the transparent, so you can see the tokens underneath. Once you're burning up a whole goblin tribe, you can still see the goblins under the fireball, and they're sized perfectly to. So learning Photoshop and Pixelmator or GIMP, and getting proficient with it gives you tools that you could then take to your table and use in your games pretty easily. Once you get the habit, it's not too difficult to create stuff like this. Like the other day, I was missing a spell, and my one of my players has a spiritual weapon, and he wanted me to create a token for it, so I did. And here's his spiritual weapon token. You know, it's a death cleric. So, and I guess that's it. Let me see if I can think of anything else that I might want to touch on next. The Faroon world map here. Uses as we travel in the campaign. One of the things I did was set the scale properly, so the scale actually matches the map scale. Right, so if you go down to the map, to the key, since our campaign revolves around traveling on an airship, we needed the scale to be right so we can know how many days we've been traveling and that sort of thing. So pretty much it's pretty close. 480 miles matches the scale of the map. And then I like to mark on the map everywhere we've been, kind of like how people do it with thumbtacks. So I like to mark excuse me, the cities we've been to. It's a big part of the campaign is visiting all these different places in Faroon. And I think that's it. If anyone has any other questions, otherwise I'm going to stop the stream. I'm going to put this up on VOD. I'll probably put it on YouTube as well, so it's available there. And I'll put links on the show notes, and and all the names of the different softwares that I'm using. And I'll go into the different softwares later in different videos. All right. So I think that's it for now, and I'll take comments on Twitter and stuff like that. And if people have suggestions or questions, I'll try to answer them on future videos. All right, and I'll get better at streaming. I don't do this often, so I know I'm a little rusty. All right, guys, thank you, and we'll be chatting. Bye.